know.
That's more than most people. So you good. You doing good.
Man, I'll tell you, we've been real lucky with just the support we've gotten from fans and friends and over the years, man. It's crazy. And that was a big thing
Yeah.
with us coming back, you know.
Yeah. 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 Well, we're gonna get this rolling. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get this rolling. We're gonna get this rolling, man. Another edition of the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. When we like to go down the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? So um again, Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. We are here ultimately to uplift humanity, but we like to talk about a numerous subjects, diverse people. You know what I'm saying? And tonight we're gonna be talking to a very good brother, man. This brother's he's a, you know what I'm saying. It's always good to just meet good, genuine people, man. I love it, man. It's a it's a blessing every time I can really say that meet and connect with a good person, and this brother's one of them. So you know, Polka Dot Rabbit podcast, of course. If you have not already, please buy go by polka.rabbitpodcast.com, get my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. Yes, that's me. Um, and if you, the more and more, if you watch me, also, of course, please follow my man Will here, Polka Dot Rabbit Podcast. Please press that follow button and please share it out to the world if you're watching it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be have some good musical talk right here. He's saying it's echoing real hard. Let's see.
A
I
lot
don't
of
know
echo.
why. Yeah, I don't know why. It might be my the new setup, but I'll work it out. I think my
Through
volume's.
my setup here too, so I can roll that down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Turn it down as low as you can. Let me see if I go a little bit lower. So, thank you also, Line Thrash 904. I appreciate that. Always thanks for the people that trying to get the right audio. We appreciate it because we don't know how it sounds. So, like I was saying, that's it. Like I was saying, no, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Polka Dot Rabbit Podcast. Please follow, like, and share YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're there. Got a whole bunch of good contact, good cats like this. This is the Melinated Music Edition. I don't want to call it Black Rockers because like that's old, man. We gonna switch it up a little, right, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go with some more correct terminology. How about that? So that's it for me. My man Will, please explain. Appreciate you. They say it's much better. Thank y'all. Thank y'all out there.
Appreciate
thank you, Mr. Sandman Travis.
that.
All right. So yeah, Will, go ahead and tell the folks you are, what you got going on, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh man. So for those of you that know, well, don't know, I am the bass player in Whole Wheat Bread. We're an all black punk rock band based out of Jacksonville, Florida. We've been doing it for a lot of years now at this point. We kind of went on a bit of a hiatus, originally kind of unintentionally, but then we decided it was a good thing for us to do, just take a break. But we've been focusing on, just life things because life happens. So, you know, um, you know, the guys, I'm the only one that doesn't have any kids now. So the guys been having kids, getting married, just doing life, man. And so now we're kind of decided that over the last few years, we've been getting a lot of support from our fans, even with us not doing much of anything. So Aaron had a great idea. It was like, man, let's take all this money that we made from digital media and things over the last few years, and let's start putting together an album. Some of it are songs from, that got recorded technically 10 years ago. So we decided to rewrite or re-record and restructure some of those songs and then write some new ones. We just made a hot video that's going to be real dope. Next month is coming out. Our new single "Pimpin'" is coming out this Friday, the 30th. So that should be really cool. And then yeah, man, just we don't plan on playing any music, um, any live music this year, but sometime next year we're going to put some things together and strategically kind of decide what we're going to do, where we're going to play. Things have to go really well for us to do full blown tours, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. So it's something that we do have in mind to play some shows and such. So aside from that, I play also guitar, lead guitar in a band called Flag on Fire, 90s style punk rock. That very much like Southern Cal kind of thing. So I've been doing that. We're looking to record a new album soon, so I've been keeping pretty busy with shows and stuff. And then also been filling in, become part of a Nirvana tribute band called Heart Shaped Box. So that's been pretty fun. And those guys know how, Nirvana got me started in the rock music and stuff when I was in elementary school. So they already had their band established, but they decided to give me a chance to come and play and stuff. So that's been really cool, and it's great, man. It's a lot of fun. Adam, who was he used to be in Puddle of Mud. He's actually the only left-handed guitarist in the Nirvana tribute band that I know in the world right now. So it's kind of a
Mm.
cool thing.
Yeah, and a little history here between me. We were just talking about this off camera. Little history we had, man. In Atlanta, um, back when right when we put out I'm on nine, the band put out the album, Elevated Beings. Earl Hudson of Bad Brains, he produced three of our songs in that album. So we were chumming it up and stuff, of course, and all that good stuff. And they were actually playing Atlanta, and Whole Wheat Bread was on the tour with them. And I reached out to Bad Brains manager. I was like, "Yo, can we get on the bill?" And they're like, "Yeah, we can't pay you, but y'all can play." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "All right, cool, we'll play."
Many of
And
those
that,
shows my day.
yeah, yeah. See, and that's actually how me and Will met. We met because we both played for that Bad Brains show. And that show was dope too, man.
Oh,
I
so
remember.
dope.
Yeah, yeah. Bad Brains, man. Even though this was like years ago. How long ago was that?
Man, that
Trying to
was at
think.
least that was probably 12 years ago, man, honestly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and HR was still. He wasn't. We all know HR ain't the. He is HR, but he was still. Um, he still put on a good show. Let's just put it that way, relatively speaking. You know what I'm saying? So I
Oh, there
appreciate
was
that for
weird
that.
activity, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
outside from the show, but man, he was on point
Yeah, he was. Yep,
when
yep,
it was
yep.
showtime.
And music, man. That night the Bad Brains were playing, man. That joint, what I'm saying? Just I love seeing Bad Brains. I'll never get sick of seeing Bad Brains. I'm like literally never. I could, I was anyway. So that's how we met, and we've been, staying in touch ever since that. So now we're gonna get into, the fun part. At least I think so. so I heard you talking about like Nirvana got you in the rock music. So like how was your childhood growing up like with music and stuff? So how did that kind of how did you go what did you start listening to and how did you kind of evolve into like punk and stuff?
Well, I remember, there was always music in my house as far as records. I remember my mom had a huge record collection,
Hmm.
and she loved, like old soul stuff, gospel stuff, Al
Hmm.
Green, a lot of Al Green. So I remember listening to that style of music, and I didn't know much about rock. And so I had heard somehow or another, I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit," I think,
Hmm.
um, and it was I didn't know anything about buying records or tapes and stuff. It was just what was at the house. So I I decided, well, I heard it. Oh, I heard it on the radio. Is what it was. So I said, well, I have this tape recorder. I'm going to record music while I'm at school all day, and I'll come home and listen to it to try to
Hmm.
find that song. And so I started listening through these tapes, and it was like back here. It was the radio station was Power 95, so they played mostly rock, alternative, kind of pop stuff. But
Hmm.
it went from like John Cicada to uh, actually, I'm remembering the story totally wrong. I started recording this because I heard Michael Jackson's or Weird Al's version of "Bad,"
Oh
which
yeah.
was, and so I wanted to record that. And in doing that, I ended up hearing "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and
Hmm.
that kind of changed my mind on like music altogether. And I just thought it was the first time I heard it, it just did something to me. So I started getting more diverse in the music I was listening to. Toad the Wet Sprocket, Soul
Mm. Yeah.
but I was still came from like an R&B, hip hop background and stuff. So yeah, so I then once I when I was in elementary school, my teacher in second grade, if you got good grades, you got to go to the symphony. So I did that once, and that was like, okay, I want to play something. This is amazing. So I started with the piano and kind of started launch from there until I got to high school or middle school. And then that's when I forgot my first guitar when I was in 8th grade. And, you know, it just, man, I can't tell you that feeling like something
Hmm.
was unlocked in you that has always been there since, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's it's funny you said Weird Al Yankovic, man, because I was just looking at some of his videos on YouTube recently, man. That dude is hilarious, man. Like I was
He
watching
is.
that, man. Yeah, I was watching. I mean, you don't appreciate. I guess you maybe when you're younger don't really appreciate just the creativity, but like I was watching when he had Eat It when he was doing Beat It when he did Eat It. Oh man,
Yeah.
that man that show that video is so hilarious, man. But he kept
I
on
don't
doing that
know.
over and over.
Well, I don't know that people really appreciate what a phenomenal musician he is
Yeah, exactly.
because he recreates these songs
Mm-hmm.
almost to the T. And
Yep.
like his live performance, I've seen him
Exactly.
once. It's
Hmm.
it's phenomenal how well he does that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's just interesting you said that. But it's very similar. It's I had not it's Nirvana really wasn't my thing, but I remember I was kind of in that the early 90s, I should say, that whole like the grunge scene, Smashing Pumpkins. I remember just watching MTV and seeing all those different bands in there. I was like, yo, this music is dope. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if it was MTV or not. I don't care, man. Like some bands, you know, they were, Soundgarden, all that Pearl Jam, those bands were good, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really feeling that 90s music, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was something happening that you
Yeah.
couldn't explain at that time, and you look back on it,
Hmm.
wow, that was a great time for music.
Yeah. Later on, you start to see like even like Smashing Pumpkins. I remember Billy Corgan was talking about how much of an influence like Bad Brains was his when he was playing because he heard the contrast between loud and quiet. I remember reading an article about that. But it now going back now, I hear so much influence from other bands I like. You know what I mean? In a lot of '90s music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so you were like music everywhere. So it kind of was like, was it the radio station? Was it more MTV that kind of got you into the grunge stuff? Was it just radio or?
Well, the radio got me into more of a rock mentality, like
Hmm.
loud guitars and that sort of thing. And MTV
Yeah.
took that and just ran away with it. Like,
Okay.
'cause I remember being glued. I had this chair that I would sit right in front of the TV and watch MTV, and just all the videos that were going on to Beavis and Butthead to
Yeah, yeah,
Daria,
yeah, yeah. Guitar,
Liquid
yeah.
Television,
Yeah.
and
You talk about
all of
talk,
that.
man.
Yeah, man, all of that just made me who I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, man. I was just watching Beavis Butthead recently, and like, I mean, they still funny, man. You ask me. But no, it's interesting, man. It's just interesting how similar our story is. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think that's pretty
yeah,
cool. I think it's pretty cool.
absolutely.
So, all right, so you get in this music, and what made you be like, yo, I got to rock out? What was that? What was that situation?
Well, I think, so I heard the Nirvana, and then, I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't play an instrument yet, and I started
Hmm.
playing the piano. Um, and I always knew that I wanted to do it. I just didn't have the means yet. And
Hmm.
so I joined the school band and I played the flute and I was terrible at that. Played the tuba and I was actually pretty good at that. But the when I got my first guitar, one of my good friends to this day, he said, I think you're really talented, but you'll never be good enough at guitar to get into Douglas Anderson, which is the music high school that we went to.
Hmm.
You should stick to your tuba. And of course, that was like one of the earliest times I can remember someone telling me I couldn't do something. So
Hmm.
I uh, I just play guitar all the time. Even the first girl that I was probably gonna have a thing with, she was like, all you do is play this guitar. You're ever gonna stop doing that? You need to make a decision. It's either me or the guitar. And I was like, well, I guess it's a guitar. So then, yeah, I did that. And then I think I did my first band when I was in middle school. It was
Hmm.
actually, if you're familiar with the band Yellow Card,
Hmm.
original drummer LP, we
Hmm.
were in a industrial band,
Mm.
So a lot of like keyboards and stuff, and I play guitar, and he played drums, and he's just wailing away. Um, did a Nine Inch Nails cover of March of the Pig at one point. I don't think we were very good at all, but he was good. The rest of us were just like just there to, support him.
Make
But
noise.
yeah, that's what it was. And then I don't think I started my next band until actually my next band was with the original singer for Yellow Card, which was Ben Dobson, and
Hmm.
that was short lived. And then moved on to a grunge band called Sphinx, and we were just as grunge as can be, making a bunch of racket, loud guitars, and just breaking stuff, jumping off stages and stuff. And that was a lot of fun. That was like I felt like I was coming into my own thing at that point for sure.
Hmm.
And then once after that, man, I took a trip out to LA with Yellow Card. Ben Harper from Yellow Card forced me to go out there, and so he was like, "Man, you got to come out." And I didn't really want to go, but I went, and Yellow Card was about to blow up on Capitol Records, and they had this good big buzz going on, and they played this sold out show at the Key Club. So I said, "Man, this is amazing. I want to do this one day." And it took about let's see, I guess that technically took about a good 10 years or so, a little less. And Whole Wheat Bread played a sold out show at the Key Club with GBH actually. It
Oh
was
wow. Hmm.
yeah,
Oh dang. All right, that's what's up. So okay, so
what's up,
that's kind of
Sean?
like
Giving a Wheeler shout out to Sean.
yeah, so you can definitely reach out and show love to your folks, and they're here to see you, my man. Um, so that was kind of like that was an that was like the what do you call it? That was a transition into your whole wheat bread. Or how did that come in? Like what was next?
So the Whole Wheat Bread thing is actually hilarious because I remember Whole Wheat Bread's first show. I was not in a band. I was in a band called Evil Limo, which was turned out to be the worst band name ever. We were like, oh, it stands for Evolution of Emotion. This is great, and it just never came across. It was always a corny thing. We show up to the venue, and the marquee would say things like Evil Elmo or Evil Nemo, and all these things. And so already people were kind of not taking it seriously. But the band was fun, and it was a lead singer and stuff, and it was a good experience for me. Um, so, anyways, Whole Wheat Bread, they played their first show at the Imperial, which was an awesome venue here, and I remember going to see them, and they had like their first show was insane, and I remember thinking that, man, this is really fun. I didn't think they were very good. They weren't bad. It just I just thought, musicianship was like, meh, you know, but it was a lot of fun. It was hype, and it was great. And so then it quickly turned into around Duval. People like, oh, hey, you're that guy that plays in Holy Bread. I'm like, no, I'm a black guy that plays guitar in another band. I'm not Holy Bread. So it just went on for years. And so
Hmm.
Aaron and I became friends, and he would just say, you should just join the band. I'm like, I don't know. Because at the time I thought, okay, well, I'm a better guitar player than you are. I don't want to play bass guitar. I'm not going to do that.
Hmm.
Um, and he's like, are you sure, man? So it was always like cool, but it wasn't the time, man. But life has a way of working itself out. So fast forward to like '07, and
Hmm.
um, you know, me and a friend were doing acoustic shows together. So we opened up for Holy Bread to come into town. I'm like, all right, cool, let's check this out. And I hadn't really listened to them in a while, and they played, and they had shout out to Rick Grice. Uh, People call him White Boy, the white guy, all kinds of stuff. Mayonnaise, sometimes they call him that. But he filled in on bass guitar for a tour, and so he was playing bass when they came through. And I remember just standing there in awe, just like, wow, man, these guys have gotten really, really good.
Hmm.
And so Aaron actually was there with our manager Moore at the time, and Moore comes up, and Aaron, he's like, "So you want to join Holy Bread now?" I was like, "Yeah, might as well now." Uh, you but I went in, and I wasn't all in yet. They had a show a couple days later I think it was like a week later down in Orlando with Wu-Tang Clan. So I traveled down to Orlando and checked it out, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing now. So
Hmm.
joined the band right there, and then I've been in it since. So at this point, I'm the longest bass player for Holy Bread.
Oh, I actually, being a musician, I was peeping your skills you were playing, man. You ain't no chopped liver, man. Look like you've been, you got some chops, man. You got some chops. I must admit, you know what I'm saying.
You know what's funny about that too is that, like, I didn't want to join Holy Bread or early on because I thought, well, I'm a better guitarist, and but the thing is, joining Holy Bread made me a way better musician than I was before I was in the band, all around, just from
Yeah.
bass, guitar, whatever it is. But the professionalism that the band has, and like the just like the respect that, like, the band commands of you to
Hmm.
be on, every night, no matter what the
Yeah.
situation is. I learned that from being in Holy Bread for sure.
Yeah. 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 I can see that. Yeah. I can see the work ethic and everything. Just like, yo, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Just being around, you know. Just being around y'all for that time, I saw it was, y'all was serious, man. Y'all weren't, goofing around, being, y'all was serious, man. I mean, y'all having fun, but y'all were,
yeah,
I
we
could
had a lot
definitely
of
see
fun,
the,
but we took it
yeah.
extremely seriously.
So how about this? So tell me about your first real tour, man. Like when you, like, yeah, when you're like, I'm really hitting the road, man, and like, yeah, how was that?
It was crazy. The first day of tour was we drove out to Austin for South by Southwest, and
Mm-hmm.
we were starting a tour with Authority Zero, and we played with them. So I met all those guys. It was a much different lineup than it is now, but it was them, and we played with. I mean, Helmet played that night.
Mm,
The coolest thing in the world happened though. So I grew up. I grew up listening to punk rock and all this stuff. So I joined Holy
mm,
Bread. So we play earlier in the day, and I think we were playing at Emos, and then we get done, and the stage manager's like, "Hey, if you guys want to come back later, just hit us up. We got you on the list." So I was like, "All right, cool. I'm going to do that later." So I go back, and No Effects is playing in a room
mm,
with like that probably holds maybe 150 people, right? And so we go in, and I'm standing on the side of the stage with No Effects, and they're just
mm.
about to go on, and I'm just like, "Wait, what?" So they
Yeah.
go and they do the show. They get done, and everything's kind of like mellowing out, and Fat Mike is outside by like this van or something, and he's talking to like a line of kids, right? I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna go talk to him, maybe we'll
Mm,
see." So there's a kid talking to Fat Mike, and then there's a kid in front of me, and so he doesn't see me yet. So it's his turn. He walks up to Fat Mike, and right as he does that, he looks back at me, and he goes, "Oh my God, are you the new bass player in Holy Bread?" And Fat Mike stops and goes, "Oh, hey, you're Will." And I was like, "What?"
How does
Um,
it Fat Mike know?
so Holy Bread was in talks with signing a deal with on Fat Records at the time. It ended up not going through,
Ah,
obviously,
okay.
but yeah, it's like he already knew that I was joining his band and knew who I was,
Mm,
such. And then we stopped, and we chit chatted for a while and stuff. And that was the start of it. Like, man, I'm in a real band. This is like,
yeah,
I gotta, like,
yeah.
people are watching me now.
No,
But
especially when you're hanging out with folks that probably listen to the records about listen to the music through before and just known in the punk rock world. You're like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I always thought that
yeah,
was the coolest thing, man. Just going to shows and just hanging out with them cats, man. Yeah, man. So I know that had to be exhilarating.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like Aaron and Joe, they Joe, Mr. White Folks, for those of you that don't know, but they they were building this thing, right? So, but I
Yeah.
come in and automatically get this mutual respect from other
Hmm.
bands like Real Big Fish, um,
Mm.
freaking, just I mean, all kinds of bands, the Bouncing Souls, uh,
Mm.
MXPX, like they're all like we
Mm.
like, oh hey, sometimes we go to towns and members from those bands, we wouldn't be paying a show with them, but they would come and hang out because
Yeah.
we had toured with them the year before or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I know, man, and that's a good feeling, isn't it?
it's a great
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
And then you feel like, man, like all the when I started in my room, just playing and then like
yeah.
practicing and honing my craft, someone's actually paying attention and recognizing it.
So, like going back to what I was saying, that first tour, that first real tour with like major acts, man. Like you got to tell me some war stories, man. We got to hear some war stories, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man,
The good, the bad, and the ugly. You cover them all.
God, I mean, the first tour, I mean, I probably better keep it PG a little bit just because there's some things I can't tell, but I mean, it was crazy, man. Like, I mean, just like little stuff that you just, being in a band is on the road is like, I think what some people get in their life when they go to college, maybe in
Hmm.
their, maybe like some type of fraternity or something. I don't know.
Mm.
But it's like, I remember I had never driven a trailer and they were like, "Hey, you're in this band now. You have to drive the trailer. You better figure it out. And if you run out of gas, it's on you to get gas, whatever it
Hmm.
is." So of course,
Hmm.
like 2 nights in on the tour, I'm like on E for like 25 miles. And
Mm.
I'm like, okay, these guys, I know them, but man, they're gonna make me walk in the snow to get what am I gonna do? And luckily we made it to a gas station, but it all worked out. But
Hmm.
um, man, so I think that tour was us, Authority Zero, Beat Union, if I'm not mistaken, and Civet, and then maybe a couple of the bands. But I mean, we were pulling pranks on each other. Oh man, it was so bad. One day we had a bunch of smoke bombs, and Civet was an all female band, and they were super awesome. And they they were inside the venue one day, so we took and we threw a bunch of smoke bombs under their hood and ran inside the venue like, "Oh my god, I think your van's on fire!" So they're run out, and of course the smoke's just billowing out, and they're freaking out and blah blah blah. And then we start cracking out laughing, and then they're looking at us like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" And man, they were so mad at us. But that started this whole thing of us just pulling pranks on each other.
Hmm.
Um, one night I remember we would always kind of caravan with each other, right, to the
Hmm.
next.
Yeah, yeah.
But one day we were split up because we went and hung out with some friends or whatever. So we were like, all right, we're gonna meet at this gas station. So we're driving, and we see a van and trailer because everybody had a 15 passenger van and a trailer.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we see one driving, and we was like, "Oh, look who it is!" I don't know which one it is, but it's one of our folks. So we're like throwing stuff out the window at them. People mooning each other and all this stuff, and then we pull over to the gas station, and then we see the other three van and trailers that we're meeting up with, and we look back, we're like, "Wait a minute!" It turns out it was a whole nother
What?
van we never met in our ever. And they pull up. Luckily, they were super cool. They thought it was pretty funny, and we're like, "Oh, man,
Yeah.
we thought you were." Um, man, just getting hammered and having to play through it and
Hmm.
learn to
Mm.
uh, man, just I'm trying to remember that specific first tour. Uh,
Mm.
it's hard. It was that was a long time ago. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, there was obviously debauchery going on.
Of
Uh,
course.
we probably
Punk
can't.
rock, man. What else would it be?
Yeah, punk rock.
Yeah, what else would it be? Besides, it ain't punk rock if it's not some debauchery added to it. We all know that. You know
I
what I'm
would say
saying?
this though. I've never seen so much cocaine in my life, and I
Mm.
don't do blow, but um, I've never seen so much in my life than when I was on tour with GBH. I mean, it
Really?
was just like the oldest band we've ever toured with. They would call themselves our grandpas, and or our dads, But it just like every night it was just like a powder fest would show up from people, and I was like, man, I didn't really know that was such a punk rock thing to do.
Mm.
I mean, you have gutter punks out and just it was everywhere, man. It was a wild, fun tour, man. Wow, a lot of fun.
Man, that sounds fun, man. And it's just so happy. I'm so happy that you were able to, experience that, man. And just to be able to do that, man. Especially at a certain level, man, when you're actually going out night after night and people being there, full most obviously on a tour like that, if not sold out, but close to sold out. You know what I mean? Like real
Yeah,
fans consistently to play in front of, man. That's a great feeling, man. And I got mad respect for y'all cats, y'all. I mean, y'all a nice band, man. Good musicians, good folks, man. I can't say anything negative all about y'all cats. So, all right. So how about this? You go through the tour, you seen what you seen, you done what you done, and you get home, right? And
yeah,
what is your mindset after you get home after that tour?
man. You're like, wow, like I've never been away from everybody like that for so long.
Mm.
You're like, man, it's so good to be home. And then like 2 days later, like, all right, when are we leaving again?
When we
Yeah.
leaving?
Oh man, it was nice. For me, it was nice to come home for a little bit. I had a mom that was disabled and stuff, so
Mm.
she was going through some health issues. She's not with us anymore, but
Mm. Sorry to hear that.
thank you. At that time, though, it was nice to come and visit with her, and like she was super excited about it because, I remember talking with her, being like, "Hey, look, I'm going to join this band," or I was thinking about joining this band, but I won't do it if you don't want me to because I'll be
Mm.
away. It's like, are you crazy? You better get out of here
Mm.
right now,
Mm.
And we got to share a cool moment one time before she passed, and she was like, "Man, you did it," and I was like, "What? Did what?" She goes, "You were when you first started playing guitar. You said I'm going to go to Europe and I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to play music, and she's like, you went and did that, and we went to Europe and did a UK tour and such, and she just like the joy that she had from that was
Yeah.
amazing. Like she was so proud and so glad,
Hmm.
like she did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
person
yeah.
she was. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Extension, you're extension of her. And you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
yeah, that's awesome.
Um, but yeah, you would get home and then you just like get that itch, um, because then you're like, man, you start developing friends that you'll see, every 3 to 6 months or whatever it
Yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah.
um, and you're meeting people, you're staying at their houses you're staying at the house of someone you just met. Sometimes it was just like a wild party. Sometimes it was like families, people with their kids. You wake up and have breakfast with their kids, and then you go and leave and drive to the next city and just the wildest time ever. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
so yeah, it was definitely something to look forward to. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
went. I mean, we would play. I mean, there were times we would play venues that were like 150 to 200 cap, then
Hmm.
all the way up to 1,500, 2,000. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, the largest show I think we ever played was in the UK, and I want to say that was probably like um, around 7 to 10,000 people, something like that.
yeah, yeah. That's a pretty packed place right there. Ten
Yeah,
thousand people,
and
man.
technically Coachella
Yeah,
was the largest. In our area that we played, I think there was probably I want to say like 12,000 people there, but I mean Coachella was like thousands upon
yeah.
thousands of
Oh,
people, and this was
y'all play Coachella?
yeah, this was early. This was back in the day, like maybe '09 when it was like still like Coachella. It
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't what
yeah,
it is
yeah,
now, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Prince was headlining.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
Aphex Twins, MIA, um, just I saw all kinds of artists there, man. Ate dinner,
Hmm.
lunch with Gogo Bordello. Those guys were cool. Um, just it was cool. I ran into a buddy who we worked for ADT when we were younger, and he
Hmm.
played music, and Kevin Snow. He's in a band called was in a band called the Black Kids, and they
Okay.
got pretty big in the UK, and then kind of got success here in the States. But we hadn't seen each other since those ADT days,
Hmm.
and we get to Coachella and we kind of hanging out, and I see that he's sound checking, so I walk, go around to his stage. I'm standing behind him. He's on this massive stage, and I'm just standing there for about probably like 10 minutes, and then he looks back and he's like, and he's so shocked because we're all the way across the country, and like, why am I here? He's like, what are you doing?
Hmm. Yeah,
Told me the
yeah.
story. So, that was cool. We had a good time, and it's nice to have like a familiar face. Um, so that was cool.
So not to jump too far ahead. So you don't think your Holy Bread is going to go on real tours again? Is that not a
Yeah, I don't know that we will do that. I never say never, right? But
yeah.
we're gonna play again, and we're gonna strategically make some shows outside of Jacksonville too.
Hmm. Hmm.
But who knows, man? Life. There was a time when we thought we weren't gonna do anything else with Holy Bread for a little bit.
Hmm.
And look what we're doing now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it just takes stages and step by step until, you know what I mean, the right opportunity, whatever the case may be happen. So yeah, you've already
absolutely.
been
Like
there, done that, so you don't have to like, rush anything, right?
yeah, and like I said, life happens. So
Yeah,
people got to be able to enjoy their lives and stuff. And
yeah,
you can't, a band's is something special, but you can't have it to where you feel like the band is neglecting the rest of your life because you're going to resent it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
That was probably starting to happen a little bit, and so
Hmm.
now we're able to come back to it because you don't have that resentment.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and it actually gives you positivity. So
Hmm. And plus, man, we all older now, man, so we gotta make money. You gotta keep it real,
absolutely,
man. Like, I remember I remember one time we were playing a Afro punk show. Matt, Morgan,
yeah,
he had us do two shows in New York, right? And, and he was like, for each show we got $150, you know what I'm saying? And I was
yeah,
just like, you know, once you really start to see the money behind the scene and everything, then you know what I'm saying, things get more real real quick. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk, man. All you people out there, like he just said, they had a 15 passenger van, had a trailer in the back. He just told you he drove from one place, run out of gas. Hey man, if you're getting $200, four people in the band, $200 a night from place to place, man, you're not catching up to Warren Buffett. You know what I'm saying? He's
yeah,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? So it could be, once you get older, you got responsibilities, man. So, it's
Yeah, we
it's
put
a
more
it's a
money together,
mhm.
especially when we weren't touring, but we were writing albums.
Yeah.
Luckily we had a label that had a studio for us with like a house and stuff. So, you know,
Mm.
that was some of the most fun times because we would get together and we'd be on a budget, but we would make dinner, breakfast. We cook all the time, like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
pretty good cooks, and you know, Aaron's from Trinidad, so he'd always bring in a different flavor, which was nice
Mm.
stuff. And so yeah, we learned to live on a budget, man. One time we were we were booked for bar mitzvah, and we were broke, and we were gonna get like 2, 3 grand or something like that. So we were
Mhm.
like, Joe, I remember Joe, Mr. White folks, and I were at Publix, and we were like buying all this stuff, and we get a call, hey, that was an issue with the booking. You guys actually aren't playing, and we're like, just went and put things back on the shelf out
Ah.
of our cart because we couldn't afford it.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt my
Uh,
heart right there, just
uh,
hearing that story.
Luckily, I eat rice with every meal if I can. I've been like that
Mm.
since I was a kid, but so rice and beans go a long way. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was all worth it, man. You struggle like that, but man, when you get out and you play those shows and people are just like locked in and just going
Mhm.
same
Mhm.
rhythm and motion, man, it's just they
Mhm.
nothing else like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'll tell
It's
you, you mentioned Afropunk, man. We got to headline Afropunk twice,
mhm.
and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And one year it was actually with Janelle Monet, and this
Mhm. I
was
remember that.
before she blew up. And I remember
Mhm.
uh, we were we did this kind of like co-interview with her on the couch and stuff, and she was super nice. And but it's just crazy, like that showcase Afropunk showcased a lot of really good talent.
Mhm.
So it was nice to kind of have all this together. And I had never heard of Pure Hell until we played Oklahoma, and a guy that owned a record store was like, "Hey man," he was a white guy. He was like, "Hey, I hope I don't sound racist by saying this." And I was like, "Oh boy, what?"
There we go.
Tread lightly. But he's like, "Look, man, do you know this band Pure Hell?" And I was like, "No, I never heard of them." He's like, "Well, they're all black punk rock band, and I don't want to be offensive, but I figured you guys might know about them." And I was like, "No, I don't." And so he put us on to him, and so it's like very old school, like Clash style
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
punk rock.
yeah, yeah.
And so we were Joe and I and Aaron were rocking it the whole like next few months, and then we play Afro punk, and
Yeah.
then we ended up playing or we were billed right before them. And it was just like this crazy thing that like, man, we've been digging your music for this whole time, and now we got to meet.
Now we're
And so
playing
that
with
was
yeah.
cool,
Yeah,
super
man.
cool.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I remember them cats, man.
Yeah,
Man, they're veterans, man.
yeah,
That's
they were like from that era, man. Like
yeah, they're
it,
veterans.
yeah,
They're legendary in their own right. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like, the things that we do, like, I never wanted to be like, I, I'm obviously I'm a black male, and I'm not. That's never gonna change or leave me, right? But
Mhm,
I never thought I was a person to be like, oh, I'm a leader of this, and I'm trying to pave the way for such and such. I just never felt like I was that kind of person or anything.
mhm,
But being a holy bread is kind of, you kind of assume a little bit of responsibility without even like knowing it.
mhm.
But sometimes you think, man, we're doing this thing, but we're not the first, and there were many before us, but
Yeah,
just not a lot known. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
exactly. That's
uh,
true, man.
it's cool to kind of find out things later that you didn't know about. Like there was
Mhm,
all this like a big like black punk movement long before we
mhm.
got to it. We just didn't know about it. But it's
Yeah.
cool to see the similarities that we have. Um,
Mhm.
and I mean, but music and is always been for everyone.
Yeah.
Especially like punk rock is like you know punk rock is I wasn't very familiar until recently about the whole punk black movement.
Mhm.
But it's I mean that's what punk rock is. It's
Mhm.
for yeah. Punk rock
Yeah,
is
yeah,
black.
yeah, yeah. That's my man Vaughn down here. And he Vaughn, man, he I remember I remember Punk Black just started as like little and playing these little odd places, man. And shout out to Vaughn and shout out to all of Punk Black because they just stuck with it and they've been real authentic with it, you know what I'm saying? And real with it. I applaud them cats, man. You know what I'm saying? And keep on doing what you do. I know that it's starting to become like because I had an interview and I was talking to James Spooner from the original Afro Punk, and
Right.
he just just talking to him, you just realize how much determination these people have to do things like punk black and Afro punk. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how much, he was just straight do it yourself all the way. He still is, man. And James ain't ever gonna change that, man. He's just like if you want to get it done, do it. Um,
People to spend
but
their time, their money. You
man, resources, everything, man. And kudos to shout out to Afro punk and James Spooner as well, because you know what I mean. You changed a lot of people's lives, man. You
Absolutely.
they all did, man. As far as being able to be like a black kid, you know what I'm saying, and go to a punk rock show and not feel ostracized because you as we both know, there be haters, man. You know what I'm saying, and in the punk scene, you know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying,
man.
racist haters, man. They be out there, boy. And they don't mind that either. But Afro punk kind of definitely made a safe haven for folks like us.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, it was in Duval, down here in Jacksonville. It was. I remember being the only black kid at a show, and then there was like two, then three, or whatever. Um, but the friends that were I was going to shows with and stuff, they were
Hmm.
like, obviously they were accepting, but they would stand up for you. Like they were not, I mean, that's just what I remember the punk scene
Yeah,
being about, that there
me
was
too.
no injustice. And there were times when, you get some skins that would show up and
Hmm.
wanna cause trouble and stuff. That definitely happened. I mean, I witnessed that,
Yep. Oh yeah.
more than enough times when I was a
Yeah.
kid.
Me too.
But I will say the punk community in Jacksonville, it was man, or like late '90s, 2000. It deserves like mad respect because
I
the
agree.
venues that were putting on the shows, the bands they were bringing in, and the kids that were going there and like making me have a home, playing music or just before I even was playing. So it was it was awesome. And we had the Milk Bar here, and man, I go out of the state now, and anybody that listens to like punk rock or any of those like earlier like alternative grunge bands, they find out I'm from Jacksonville. They're like, "Oh, you know about the Milk Bar?" It was like so like known, and people love that place, man. It was a
Yeah.
good spot.
Yeah, man. It's just so interesting, man. Like the more and more you just talk, the more and more how similar again our stories are. Because being from Virginia, man, it was like I talk about it in my book a lot, like how the scene was like so, I guess, multicultural. I guess that's the way easiest way you want to put it, because a lot of the kids, we had the straight edge kids, we had the
Yeah.
punk rockers, we had the hardcore kids, but half of those people would be good if a Madball CD came out. They'd buy the Wu-Tang CD the next day, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
that's how it was, you know what I'm saying? That's how it was in Richmond. And they used to have skins from the beach, that used to come down, but they used to beat them right out of the shows, man. Like it was, Richmond. That
So,
Richmond scene was from what you just said. It was very similar to what you just described.
so
Me and my partner.
my in my other band, Flag on Fire, our singer Bo Dillard, he's from Richmond,
I know
and
Bill. I know Bill.
you know Bo Dillard?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Bill. He used to be an uphill down.
yeah, man,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. He used to have, but Bill used to have long locks. He used to work at Sound
The
Hole.
record store up there.
Yeah, Sound Hole. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
Bill. I know. Yeah, I know
yeah.
Bill.
We have a running joke with him because he always talks about being at a record or working at a record store, and so we'll randomly at band practice say, "Hey, Bo, did you ever work at a record store?" Or, "Hey, did you know Bo worked at a record store?" He's fucking
Man, I used to go up there all the time, man. Bo, I used to literally be like, Bo, any good new stuff? He'd be like, yeah, send me the
Yeah, man.
flex tape or
He is
something.
out of all my friends, all my music friends, he is the one that knows. If I name a band, he knows about it. He will name off like 40 bands that I've never heard of. Like, or if I say something, he's like, "Oh, that sounds like." Like, how do you even know that, Bo?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
know
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
bands.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bo's great.
Bo knows his music. Yeah, I thought I don't know. I know I keep on for some reason I think the people that redid all of my music that put it out OVOR Records. I think they put out Uphill Down's old stuff or something. Something. I gotta talk to Gary.
He did say that there was something. I know he mentioned there was some release going on with his old band. So
Yeah,
that sounds very.
yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, I think Gary, the guy that runs that label, OVOR Records, and he like takes he took all that old Richmond stuff, and it's amazing if you ask me. But
Yeah,
like all of them, like including me, they just sent them the old stuff, like their dats and everything. He just
right.
redid them and he just put them out on their label. So all those people, band after band from the '90s on, it's just on that label, and everybody like, Gary, you the man. I don't know if you're watching that, but I still give you pride. And he's the one that helped me do my book.
That's great, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
yeah. But
Yeah, that whole scene up there, man, is just like that DC and all that area. I mean, just you look at. I really enjoyed when the Foo Fighters did the was it not back and forth Sonic Highways. I don't know if you caught that or not, but they went
mhm,
to a different city and kind of
mhm,
dive dived into this music scene in those, and they did the DC
mhm,
one.
mhm.
Um, and they had Bad Brains on there, which was like
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
great. And they had like the whole like go-go music thing,
yeah,
heavy
yeah,
rhythm
yeah,
drums and stuff. I remember being a kid and hearing that and like loving just like the drums just made you
Go
want to
go, yeah, man. Whew.
but it was great that like
Love
this
go
huge
go.
rock band, I can consider the Foo Fighters to be such a punk rock band anyways,
Mhm.
Nirvana, but
Yeah,
it was cool that they had a spotlight on that area and those type of bands and the Bad Brains being like probably the biggest one they were like showcasing there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it just
yeah,
it seemed like that scene up there was on it, man.
yeah, yeah. We used to go. We used to go up there quite often. If a big band was coming, then go to Richmond, go to see DC. It was like we either went to the beach, Norfolk, or you went to DC.
Okay,
I can't remember the name of that club now, man. I think it
in
starts with an
Norfolk.
N. No, and I remember we used to go to the boathouse a lot.
Okay,
Um, but up north, I think it was start with an N. I can't remember what it was, but we used to see a lot of shows. We used to see Clutch up there a lot because
okay.
Clutch would play up there a lot. I seen a bunch of shows up there. Um,
So there's a whole wheat bread curse with me. Band has played the Norva quite a few times, and ever since I've joined the band, every time we got booked there, something would happen and we would miss a show. It is unbelievable. I still
mm.
have never been there, and every band will talk about how great the green room is, and they've got like a sauna, and like I sometimes I feel like they're exaggerating now just to mess with me.
This a message.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, but they talk about how amazing it is that every time I think we've been booked probably 3 times in some kind of weird disaster. One time we blew 3 trailer tires on the way to a show there and couldn't make it. It was
Y'all are haunt.
unbelievable.
Y'all are haunted.
Uh,
That's what it is.
yeah, I must it's me, so I guess I'll just never play that venue.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's so what was there any like tell me like a time, man, like if you can remember,
Okay.
like a time when you were just on stage and just rocking out and it was just bliss. You were just like, yo, this is everything I imagined, this is what I want. I'm just, do you have that moment or was it a bunch of moments?
Yeah, there was a bunch of those,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Coachella, I remember just like, that was the first time that I had actually gotten nervous
Mm.
some and we had been playing like big shows and stuff, but it was just like the weight of like all the artists that were there. I
Yeah.
remember like I was really enjoying it. And this is something you will never see me do again. Um, I remember that was when we did our side project with Merce, and
Hmm.
Merce
Oh
said,
yeah, 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 yeah.
"Don't ever wear shorts on stage." Some people can get away with it. Now, I'm not one of them, especially being like, over 6'6" and
Tall.
chicken legs. Um, what was that? Boomerang when you said it straight about me, and I got Teenage Mutant Negro chicken legs. Was it?
Yeah.
But man, I remember watching the video back of me up there with I think I had like these green and yellow like low cut sneakers on and these shorts, and my legs are like little like tiny sticks. Uh,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh my god, I'll never do it again." So to this day, I've never worn shorts on stage
No more
again.
shorts. I,
Um, but I remember just being like, "This is unbelievable." Like, just looking at all these people and, you got beach balls flying from the crowd and just smoke and, um, I mean, it was spectacular. That and we did a festival, actually it was here, at, Swanee out here in Florida, which is not about an hour and a half from where we are, something like that in Jacksonville, but we were playing in Deftones. We were playing, and Chino
ah,
was standing on the side of the stage watching me. And I remember thinking, man, I got to turn it up right now. And I just started going ham and jumping all over the stage and just having so much fun, man. It was great. And then afterwards, Chino came up and was like, man, good. That was a great show. And I was like, what? Chino,
yeah,
that's cool,
man.
man.
The tones, man. The Deftones, man. Yeah, I met them years ago, man. I was on it back when she was still alive. I met them, on a tour bus, and real good dudes, man. All them cats from California like that, man. They got that
Yeah.
laid back, that laid that vibe. But they actually played when Adrenaline came out. Which I think the date is like 95 or 96 when they played in Richmond. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I seen a lot of shows in Richmond, man, at Twisters, man.
Yeah.
Deftones came in that joint, man, and I thought the whole stadium, I mean, the whole place would crack in half, man. That thing, man, because it was you remember how the Adrenaline album sounded,
Oh, yeah.
when Nosebleed and
Yeah. It was
and
just high intensity, just big
just
sounding.
you know, you know, Deftones a very unique band. They've always been very unique, man, because they like had like the whole hardcore, like the metal and like the whole punk thing, all like just they just had that vibe, that swag, man. But one of
Absolutely.
the best shows I've ever seen in Richmond, Virginia, was the Deftones in that tour when Adrenaline came out. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand how you could be, stoked from Chino and the crew hollering at you. You know what I'm saying? Giving you
Yeah, man,
props.
that's the thing. I mean, with Holy Bread, man, we played with some of like my favorite artists, and I mean, even bands that I wasn't really familiar with or kind of knew. Just it was cool that we were playing with these larger than life artists. We were really lucky in that respect, and we seemed to always get respect from them too, which was
Yeah.
great. You know, we we were playing with Taking Back Sunday once in Europe, and I was standing on the side of the stage with it was like the bassist from Under Row, and we were like sharing. It was a long story where we got to the show late and all these things. So he got in this like sub that they were bragging about, and I didn't get there in time to get it. So he like offers me a sub, and I'm like, wait, no, I can't take your sub. He's like, no, take the sub, man. So I took a bite, and it was so delicious. I gave it back. Takes a bite, gives it back. So we're sharing this sub back and forth as we're watching Deftones. I'm sorry, Taking Back Sunday on the side stage,
Mm-hmm.
and Adam Lazaro walks over, looks at me, and then starts breakdancing. And I was like, what? And this was like they were having a little breakdown in their song. And so I was like, oh, what the heck? That's awesome. So show ends. We go back to the hotel. We're all at the same hotel. And he's like, all right, meet downstairs. We're gonna get some Jack because he knew I love Jack and he loves Jack.
Mm-hmm.
So we meet downstairs and we're all hanging out. And I was like, yo, what was up with the breakdancing? He's like, dude, Holy Bread brought it so hard I had to step my game up. And I was just like, wow. It was such a compliment, you know.
Yeah. I'm happy y'all back, man. I'm happy y'all were. I was proud to see y'all doing what y'all were doing, man. In all regards, the videos and live shows. I was very, you just get proud, man. Y'all were representing. That's the easiest way to put it. Y'all were representing to the fullest, man. Yeah. So
That's
I
definitely
can't
something we
say.
try to, make
Yeah.
sure we do. We felt, at some point realize it's, we're having fun and doing our thing, but we're like, like I said earlier, sometimes you assume responsibilities that you're not, you didn't technically start out on that path, but now you have it, so,
Hmm. Hmm.
so then we realized we had to bring it and do it just try to do
Did
it
you
just.
did you ever see like different shows like when you played a show and you like saw a younger version of you in the crowd that came up to you talked to you, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. So with Flag on Fire, we just played at Kona Skate Park, which is like the oldest skate park in America, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and that's here in our hometown. And I remember going and skating there and all the stuff. So they turned it into a venue, and man, there was like kids like aged like maybe 14 to maybe 18, and there was like it was an all ages show, but mostly kids.
Hmm.
And man, I was so proud because it was so cool to see. There was probably 6 to 8 young black kids in that crowd, and
Hmm.
they were digging it, and they were like,
Yeah.
they were loving it. And then I remember this girl, this young black girl was when I got done playing, she just stood on this. She was standing right in front of the stage, just very like patient. And so I get done, and she walked up, and she's like, "Is it okay if I take a picture with you?" And I was like, "Dude, yes, absolutely, it's okay." And she was like, she seemed really like just ecstatic about it. I was ecstatic, and it's just cool because it's like, you know, I love to see that everybody can come out and enjoy our music.
Hmm.
And it's like Flag on Fire didn't set out. It's not like Holy Bread, right? But they have kind of assumed that with me being a black guy and being in Holy Bread, now playing in their band also, right?
Hmm.
Or it's our band, but it's just something that comes with the territory.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's cool that it's becoming less and less slowly, but less
yeah,
and less abnormal. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly. Yeah. That's very true, man. It's because people are just again, thanks to Afro punk and like people like Punk Black, people aren't just they're it's just being a normal. It's becoming normal now. It's not
Yeah,
like it's you're not. There's not the tokenism or the novelty is like starting to go away. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Even
So
in hip hop, like it's become cool in hip hop for black dudes to be more skaterish or
oh
like
yeah,
have
oh
rock
yeah,
influence and things like
hmm
that. When
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
remember getting jumped because I wasn't listening to hip hop by
yeah.
black kids because I was playing guitar, playing rock music, or
Hey
whatever.
man, you got to give that. You got to give a lot of that props again to the Beastie Boys, man, because
Yeah,
them jokers when Check Your Head came out, well, really, well, especially Check Your Head, but like Paul's Boutique, but when Check Your Head came out, and they just had that whole like straight up skater vibe thing going on, and the way
yeah,
they were playing it, yo, man, to never sleep on the Beastie Boys, man, because they were like they were the illest crossovers,
they
but
were, man.
but real talk, man, people don't realize that the Beastie Boys are ones that put LL Cool J on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they because they heard his demo tape and they went to Rick Rubin. He's like, "Yo,"
Yep,
you know what I'm
yep.
saying? And Adam Yauch did a whole bunch of the Bad Brains albums, man. Before he
Yep.
rest in peace, Adam Yauch. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man.
Legends, man.
They
Legends
are.
from
They
all
are. Man.
tips, man. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
you hear weird or not weird, but just like random things in the music industry and stuff. I thought it was cool. I heard that I was a big Sonic Youth fan and stuff, so
Mm.
I heard that Thurston Moore drove Mike D to like his first show, first gig or whatever, and I was like, man, that's so cool. Like just to have those two genres, even though there were different styles of music, but they were still part of that same
Yeah, yeah,
mentality,
yeah, 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 yeah,
which is like,
yeah.
I remember Nirvana on New Year's Eve played with Cypress Hill
Mm.
for a Live and Loud show, and it was like the perfect. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's different, but the same mentality.
Um, about the late '90s, Korn went on tour with the Far Side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You talk about a show, man. Good gracious, man. That's whew, man. The way they used to mix different, genres up, and the way that it really like, it just made. So I was watching this one old video of a Woodstock, and DMX came out. You know what I'm saying? And he was on a Rough Rider, song, and
yeah.
like all them kids in the audience knew the song, man. And they were
Yeah.
moshing and everything, man. I was just like, yo, man. You know what I'm saying? I think that's beautiful, man. Music, man. One of the best ways to bring people together. You know what I'm saying?
It really is, man. It's not cliche to say that because I mean, it is so true, man.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
know
true.
we both experience it, man. That in sports. That's sports,
Yeah,
another good thing.
absolutely.
Um, So okay, we're gonna turn it down to, I guess, a more serious tone note, you know what I'm saying, and more personal thing aspect. Because you were building me off camera that you had a health scare, right? Could you gotta like talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny when I was younger, I was pretty, when you're a kid, you don't want to be like vulnerable and all those things, and um, so I wouldn't talk about things that were the issues that I had as like a health issue and such, right? So
Mhm.
as a kid, I was diagnosed with what's called Marfan syndrome,
Mhm.
um, and it's basically a connective tissue disorder. Um, most people that have it are pretty tall. Anything that's a connective tissue related is compromised. Um, so a lot of basketball players have had it and died.
Mm.
When they've had these like sudden deaths, it's a lot of times been Marfan and such.
Mm.
So anyways, because of that, it's so funny because I just thinking about like, man, I used to be so embarrassed to even talk about it now. And I'm like, well, now I'm like, well, obviously I've lived this long and I'm older and who cares or whatever. I'm getting old, but maybe someone else might actually find out that they have it, or
Yeah.
if I had known more people had it, it would have probably made me feel a little more comfortable. I think there's been a talk about that Joey Ramone possibly had it.
Mm.
That's been confirmed or not, but I've heard it's come up a few times.
Mhm.
Uh, and maybe Michael Phelps also. But anyway, so because of that, I had an aortic dissection, and I got really lucky because the inner layer had torn, and then there's an outer layer, and if that ruptures, I mean, you're pretty much like, even if you're on a operating table, you pretty much don't have a chance to live. So my
Mhm.
outer layer started to balloon, and I felt the pain. It was the most excruciating pain I'd
Oof.
ever been through. But I got really lucky, got to the hospital, and they were able to do some surgery, put in a stent. They rerouted like a major artery so I get more blood flow to my spine. And
Mhm.
man, I'm back. I'm back. I run, I exercise. I can't lift any like crazy weights.
Mhm.
Essentially, I'm pretty sure that's how it happened because I decided, oh, I'm going to get big and jacked all of a sudden when I've never been that person in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I tried to do that, and then I think that caused me to have an issue more so. But now, like I said, man, I'm great as far, I have a good team of doctors that I go and visit with, and
Mhm.
they cleared me to go and still play music and stuff. And
Mhm.
yeah, man, it's but you go through something like that, and that's you've got to, maybe I would assume, unless you have some type of mental disorder, that you recognize how you know blessed you are, how um just how fragile life is, and you
Yeah.
just be really appreciative of the things that you do have. So, another cool thing, my dad was in my life, and my mom had passed away when this happened. So, my dad had started to come back around, and he was actually
Mm,
there for when I was in surgery and stuff, which is crazy.
mm,
Ain't like because when I was like younger, I was like that never would have happened, but he was there when I
mm.
woke up, and so you live long enough and try to do the right things, and good things will happen to you. It won't, everything good won't happen to you, right? But you might live to see some positivity that you never thought would happen. So, but yeah, man. So I'm here, and I lived long enough to hope to make another Holy Bread album. So that's pretty good.
Hey man, y'all gotta listen, man. Y'all, this is knowledge and is wisdom talking right here, man, and humility, man. You know what I'm saying? It's every single time I met this cat in the conversation we had, man, and I'm sure everybody that's watching this right now, there's a real cat right here, man. Real honest, good brother, man. And I applaud, everything that you've done. I applaud you as a person. I'm honored to meet you. You know what I'm saying? Call my brother, and you know what I'm saying, and
Likewise.
yeah, man. Glad that that we here still kicking it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
we
I
have to.
always get so like we'll go a while where we won't communicate, and then I'll get so excited when I see you online or like you send me a message. I'm like, oh, it's my boy, it's my Atlanta boy. You got to send him a message.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I was. You were like on my top five cats to get, and I got you, man. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying that top five, down in my initial list. I'm gonna keep on going down the list. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? It's excellent, man. I'm happy that things are going good. I'm excited to hear this new music, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's good. It's gonna be good, man. It's
Hmm.
we were talking about it. Joe and I weren't, we're more from a just more of a like rock background. I mean, we listen to everything, right? But
Hmm.
Aaron's definitely been more of the MC hip
Yeah,
hop
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
group, right? So when we decided to do this song Pimpin', um, we were like, well, we want to do this other song that we were working on. It's more rock, and you shoot a video for that. But man, the video turned out to be awesome. It was
Mm,
so much fun to shoot it, and like we had a legit team, film crew and stuff, and they were all awesome. A lot of people volunteered their time and stuff. Um,
mm,
Along with our well, I should call her a new friend, Emily Block. She did a big write up for us in the paper. It was the last thing she did before she retired from our paper here. Well,
mm,
not retired, but she left the paper. I should say she's not that old. She took on a new job, but it was really cool of her to do that for us. And it was released on 904 Day, which is Duval Day here in Jacksonville.
mm,
And 904 is our area code down here for people
mm,
that don't know, but it was a great article for like on a great day. Then Duval Day is kind of, you know, Holy Bread, I would say kind of, we didn't start Duval Day per se, but sort of, and we really kind of promoted, hey, let's make this a festivity,
yeah, yeah,
and unfortunately, we were unable to play this year, but it was still cool that we were able to be a part in some way. And I got to actually play with Heart Shaped Box. So it was still like Holy Bread related a little bit.
mm,
Um, but it's, we love our city. So this was really cool. Um, we did Duval Day 2 years ago. And it was us. There was a bunch of artists, but the headliners was us and Evergreen Terrace.
mm,
And it was just such an amazing show. And those guys have become just, I mean, I remember their first show at a church, some 20, like 22, 23 years ago or something. And they've really kind of been at the forefront of this kind of hardcore scene, and they kill it, man. So
yeah,
I think we're going to try to do that again next year with them. Probably incorporate Inspection 12 in that also. Inspection 12, for people that don't know, they were basically what Yellow Car became, more than likely would have been Inspection 12. You never really know, but their drummer unfortunately died, and
mm,
yeah, juvenile diabetes and passed away, unfortunately. Um, but they were so talented, and they have
mm,
influenced so many artists in Jacksonville, so many bands and stuff. So
mhm,
um, so we like to put something together with them. So if we can get us Inspection 12 and Evergreen Terrace next year, it'll be
That'd be tight.
huge
Let me
hit.
know, man. Let me know in the head. I'll come down there, man. I'll check y'all out, man.
Oh,
Real
you
talk.
definitely.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
talk. All right, I got one. I got something for you.
Okay.
Your 5 top albums.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Right now, it's changed over the years.
Right now,
Um,
it's cool.
okay. I'm gonna have to say "Damn."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kendrick. Definitely Nevermind. Always gonna be up
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, I'm gonna have to go with. Oh man, it's hard because there's so many from this artist, but I will say if I had to pick one from Thrice, I really want to pick like three of them, but I would say definitely Thrice. So it'll be, oh man, I'm gonna have to think about that. Um, yeah, it's definitely a Thrice album, but there's so many, so I have
Okay,
to.
all right.
So what's
You can
that? Three?
you can do album slash artist. That's fine.
Yeah. So let's just throw Thrice up there.
Okay.
Um, and then Devil and God or Rage Inside of Me, brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what's weird is I've known this band. I've liked them for a long time, but really got into them. But probably Crimson by Alkaline Trio.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man. It's as far as dealing like with punk rock specifically, I should say. Like, what differentiated? What did you like that differentiated certain bands from others? Like for me, like me personally, people just think like you just hear punk rock, it's just loud guitars going fast. But like, if you take a band like, you know, Green Day, or you take and you like match them up with a band like, I don't know, even somebody like Bad Brains, like a hardcore band, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
still chords fast, but it's still different. You know what I'm saying? So what did you what did you which one did you like that really, you know what I mean, that really appealed to you? Was it more like the pop punk Green Day stuff, or was it more like the hardcore punk stuff?
Green Day was definitely probably like my sort of intro into punk rock.
Mm,
I take that back. The first time I knew that I heard punk rock and I knew it was something different, but wasn't sure what it was Pennywise,
mm,
and it was about time. Um,
mm.
and I wasn't sure what it was, but I was like, "Oh, that's like that sound or something."
Oh
I
yeah,
don't.
that sound. That
Um,
sound.
yeah, and I couldn't, and I heard that, and I didn't hear it for a while because I was very much into like the grunge thing. Um,
Mm.
and then, yeah, I think once I really got into punk rock, it was like, um, probably man, I think No Effects and Pennywise, and then all the Lagwagon, all the
Yeah,
big,
all that California stuff.
and then I got into now probably my favorite out of those bands is definitely Face to Face.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. You
um,
rocking a shirt on. You rocking a face-to-face shirt on that picture you sent me.
oh, am I?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You that album was it No Authority? Is that right? And
Yeah,
yeah, that was a yeah. I remember I remember writing getting that album, and I literally wrote a letter to them, and the drummer, we talking old school, and the
yeah, yeah.
drummer returned the a letter to me, but he didn't
Really?
send on that letter, but it was on like a piece of paper, like a postcard or something. You know
Okay.
what I mean? He actually returned it and sent
That's
it to
awesome.
me. I was just like, yo, that's that I still remember that day. And I thought that was the biggest thing. But that's how we used to roll back then, man. You didn't
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
internet and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You had the mail. You know what I'm saying? You had rock. What was that show? Maximum Rock and Roll to find out where the
Yep,
bands were. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? That's how it was back then.
Man, and of course, we're talking about the Southern Cal bands. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, no use for a name. I gotta. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one that out of all those bands, those are the one. No use for a name was the one that would get you all in your feelings.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like man, like, it was punk rock, but Tony Sly would write these songs, and they were like they would be kind of aggressive, but man, it'd be so like you like focus on the lyrics, and it's like so emotional.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
it-
Yeah.
um,
I mhm.
no, I
Yeah,
was gonna say like, just like
okay, go ahead.
it just so many bands like one of the bands that are making a resurgence now, Cigar. I heard them
Mhm.
like so long ago, just insane. Um,
Mhm.
and now, man, and we're talking about the top five bands. I mean, I don't know how I didn't even mention Propaganda.
Yeah.
Um, I just, I can't live without a Propaganda album. So
Yeah.
it's, it's hard. Top five is hard, but
Yeah, I know.
they,
That's why I
you know,
like to say it because this is a similar response we're going on right now.
yeah, not talking albums. You're pretty much. I listen to weekly Kendrick Lamar,
Mm,
Propaganda, Thrice, and Nirvana, and Alkaline
mhm,
Trio, Brand New. That's
mm.
always a given. And obviously there's other stuff in there, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Going back to what you were saying earlier, in my personal opinion, this has been documented numerous times. Like, as far as like pop punk bands, man, goddamn Green Day, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm talking early Green Day, and they just
yeah,
evolved in their own way. But
yeah,
that daggone, was something that was very, very interesting to me listening to, and just I saw this documentary on them. It was real interesting, but because they're like good guys and they work hard, man. That's why I
yeah,
give them props, man. But if you listen to like Smooth Out Sloppy Records, like the actual song Green Day song. Have you heard that song? The actual
yeah,
song Green Day? You know what I'm talking about? I picture a sound, that
yeah,
I love that, love those chords, love that riff, etc. Love that song to death, right? But when you take that whole album like Kerplunk and Smooth Out Sloppy Hours, and then they transition into that they did a thing on that Angus um they did I think it's JAR because one of their friends died or something like that.
right,
But yeah, but that was their bridge into Dookie when they went to I think it was Reprise Records when they would. But if you listen to the sound, if you listen to like Smooth Out Sloppy Hours and you listen to that song Jar and then you
okay,
listen to Dookie, you see the jump, from
yeah,
nice equipment, nice studios, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And yeah, you know what I'm saying? You see a huge jump and you're just like, that's when I really started to realize just like how, the progression that these bands have once they start to go from something small to big, you know what I'm saying? You
right,
don't think
right,
about stuff that, you know what I'm saying? You don't think about stuff like that when you're um you don't think about it like when you just listen to music, but once you're a musician, you hear it, you're like, dang man,
well,
that's a
yeah,
huge difference.
um you listen to the first Whole Wheat Bread album, and
Hmm.
to freaking, oh my god, Hearts of Hoodlums, and it's just like the sound quality,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
equipment, things like
Equipment.
that.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You
It
can
does play
think
a big difference.
translate a little better,
Hmm.
um, or more, I should say.
Hmm.
Um, now, sometimes some bands go a little too far with it, right? Uh,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and you can hear that too, especially when the musicians like, you hear the overkill thing, you're like, God damn, you didn't have to do all that. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, but on the flip side, like I remember this one time, listening to a U2 album. I think it was Octung Baby, and Brian Eno was one of their producers. Big time cat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like forever. I think they used the Flood was an engineer, but to even like to perfectly balance it, I remember listening to it. Yeah, it was Octung Baby, and I would listening to the way that they use the synthesizers and the keyboards. You know what I'm saying? In the
yeah,
music, and because really they're what a four-piece band, but the way the studio they would bring it out in the studio was just like damn near perfect. You know what I'm saying? They did
yeah,
that a lot with Joshua Tree and all that stuff, but you know once the right producer does it right, you know what I mean? It can be one of the best, most beautiful things ever. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, man.
absolutely. That's what Rick
Music,
Rubin's
man.
good
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't say he's good at it. Is the master at, I should say.
yeah, yeah. He, yeah. Even it's so funny, man, to think that Rick Rubin was making them beats for like Run DMC and all the stuff back in the day, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, like that Beastie Boys, that stuff. Like I'm so now, I can tell because the beats have evolved, but like just seeing him in the room, you doing sucker MCs, ta, 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 ta,
Yeah.
you know, ta, 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 just seeing Rick Rubin sitting there, on a beat machine, and you know what I'm saying, and like,
I got
just
this. It's hot. It's hot. I got it.
yeah, 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 yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then just to it's so funny, because we're older now, so we can go back like looking at that movie. Have you When was the last time you seen that movie Crush Groove? Have you seen have you seen
Oh,
do
which
you
one?
remember seeing yeah, Crush Groove?
No, I don't know if I've ever actually seen that.
Oh man, bro, you get a chance, go watch that again, knowing what you know about Def Jam Records, knowing what you
Okay,
know about the Beastie Boys, knowing what you know about all that stuff about the whole history time, Rick Rubin and
right.
Russell Simmons. Yo, watch that movie, man. You will die laughing, man. Just because
Really?
yeah, oh man, yeah, just because you understand if you watch it, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? But but yeah, man, music, man. I'm honored to be a part of the fraternity. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying?
great.
Yeah, and just so you know, I'm getting back at it, man. I'm keeping it on the low now, but I got some things cooking. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? Yeah, 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 yeah. Some familiar faces from people out there in the music world gonna be rocking with, but I got some things cooking. So
that's
you know what
great,
I'm
man.
saying? Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty excited to get back at it, man. Get back at it. But yeah, man. So well, you know what I'm saying? That's really it on my end. That's you done answered all my questions. That got me going down nostalgia lane and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, like we said, please follow my man Will Polka Dot Rabbit. Please follow podcast. Please follow it. We always have, I always gonna keep on bringing good brothers on like this, good brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying, on there that rock out and do their thing and represent like my man Will has. I appreciate you, brother. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, once you get things cooking, let me know. I'll support you, and I'm definitely come down and hang out with y'all cats, man. But
I appreciate that, man. You
yeah,
definitely got to come down there and hang in Jacksonville and kick it with us for a bit, man. It's a good time.
definitely, it's
A
going
lot of
down,
people
man.
that come, a lot of good bands in here. I've been talking about with some friends how I really want to start a documentary, um, about the Jacksonville music scene.
Mm,
You gotta mention 38 Special, Molly Hatchet, Skinner,
mm,
all the way. You got like Limp Bizkit. Um, God, there's so many bands. From us, Holy Bread to um, obviously Evergreen Terrace, Yellow Card. Um, you've got like Red Jumpsuit was from Jacksonville. Um, it just a lot of pretty like bands that did some pretty good things that have
yeah,
come out of it, which is really cool. So it'd be nice but I want to take it like really, really deep,
deep,
maybe
yeah,
like a series, so that you can get all the small bands that maybe played 5 shows but spawned into this bigger band. Uh,
mm,
I feel like that would be really, uh, it's really amazing, and the big role that the venues played, like the Milk Bar,
mm-hmm.
Moto Lounge, Dante's Purgatory, things a lot of people don't even know about or have forgotten about. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
I just try to figure out how to find the time to actually get that launched. So
Keeping the history alive, man. Keeping the yeah. That's like I was telling you earlier. That's why I'm happy. My man up in Richmond, Gary, did that with OVOLR and Bo. Once next time you talk to Bo, he'll and he remember me. Just
yeah,
tell
he
him,
doesn't forget
yeah.
anything.
Just
I'll see
remember.
him at band practice tomorrow.
Tell him Joe from Independent. This is and
Okay.
he'll remember it. Yeah, he'll remember. He'll remember me coming in and getting all those tapes and stuff. Oh, actually, back in the day, I was taking our demo tapes up to him as a consignment.
That's so great. That is such a small world, man. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I know it
Bo's
is.
not gonna
Yeah.
forget. He doesn't forget anything.
Yeah, yeah. Tell him I said
He has
what's up
a lot
as
to
well,
say.
man. Tell him I said what's up. But yeah, man, that's it for me, man. I'm trying to think. I know we got some dope. I think we got two or three more podcasts this week. With another dope cat, Amon Rise, the hip hop cat in Athens, Georgia, and this one cat, she does digital art. what's her name? Alexandra Van Loot, I think her name is something like that. She like this badass visual art. I saw it one time. I was like, yo, I got to talk to this chick. You know what I'm saying? Because it was
Yeah,
that's how like that's how the because a lot of imagery in my. But we gonna keep this Polka Dot Rabbit podcast thing moving and going. And I appreciate
absolutely.
you for being on here and spreading the word. I saw you get showing some love out in the Facebook world, man. So
Absolutely, man.
yeah, man, I appreciate you. Besides that, man, we are out here, and my man Will Frazier, appreciate you again. We gonna have you back, man. Is that you gonna come? You gonna come back?
Oh, absolutely, man.
All
If I
right.
get to hang out with you, of course, of course.
All right, man. Well, peace and love to all y'all out there in the music land. You know what I'm saying? And check us out this week. We got some more stuff going. And if you're in Atlanta, Georgia area this Saturday, forgot to say, y'all, we do have a an event that I'm assisting with. Um, it's going to be some very powerful, powerful speakers talking about healing and a bunch of different positive, uplifting topics. So I'm going to be posting more stuff about that later on. So just keep an eye on that. But besides that, we got out of here. Will, thank you again. Much love, my brother. Peace and love to you. And until next time, we out.
Peace.